Ahoy, fellow mpreg fans.
And welcome aboard The Joy of Trek, a adjective podcast, missed a bit there, Chief, exploring the decompression chambers and engine raves of Star Trek, all of it. I'm Cocky.
I'm Kay.
And sticking my fingers where they don't belong is your chief engineer, Greg.
Together we're on a mission through the holodecks of Star Trek to find the baby-proofing in every elevator and the excellence in every episode.
Even the sexual electricity.
Because every episode must be someone's favorite, and it might as well be us.
So put those nipples to use and join us as we nurse into
The joy of
Trek. Okay. So, missed a little bit in the script there, did our chief engineer, but he more than made up for it.
Maybe he was hormonally challenged.
Oh dear, yes, welcome everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Joy of Trek as we sort of explore the various reaches of sometimes lesser loved and sometimes very obscurely loved episodes of all of Star Trek. Yeah, I just decided to do a little sort of intro after the intro in case our intro wasn't clear enough.
Our post-intro, yes.
Yeah.
And today we are doing episode 105.
Don't say doing. Don't.
No?
Considering what this episode is about.
Well.
We're doing some engineering.
Yes.
Right? Not like that.
Episode 105 of Enterprise, Unexpected.
Yeah.
Yes.
First aired October 17th, 2001, written by Rick Berman and Brannon Braga and directed by Mike Vejar, or Vejar. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce his name.
Yeah.
First credit on this series. Featuring, let me see. Some of these are actors actually are kind of familiar. Julianne Christie as Alen, not that familiar. I think she played Talaxian on Voyager as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, Randy Oglesby as Tronal. He was the male Xyrillian.
He kind of looked familiar, yeah.
Well, if you're familiar with the latter seasons of Enterprise, then you'll see him as Degra. Then, okay. As a Xindi antagonist in the future. And Vorok, the Klingon, was played by, this was really fascinating to discover, Christopher Darga, who's also played a Klingon in Deep Space Nine, and he played an alien in Voyager's think tank. And when I followed his website, ChristopherDarga.com, I found out he's this amazing sculptor in bronze and resin.
Oh, okay.
Who's some beautiful busts of Allosaurs and Dracorexes, and also like Sitting Bull and Red Cloud and Geronimo.
Oh.
And a Sioux or an Oglala person called His Fights, which is apparently this person's name. Also fought some famous battles. So yeah, a man of many talents in Star Trek.
Clearly so. I have no idea.
I'm just dumping a lot of trivia on you early on, because that actually wasn't that much sort of background trivia to this one.
Yeah, sometimes the episodes go like that. It's...
Oh, yeah, because some of our listeners are sitting at home wondering which episode we're talking about, okay? So why don't you...
I just said that.
Why don't you... What? Yeah. You said the name of the episode, and I said some details about it, but what was it about, Kay?
Oh.
You know how you're so good at giving synopses live and on the spot that I make you do it every time?
Right, well, let's see. As the Enterprise discovers that they've been having some trouble on board the ship, they find that they're being followed by an alien ship in cloak, and their presence is disrupting their warp field and throwing off all sorts of things that happen on board. They graciously offer to help them out and fix their warp drive, which is done by Trip, who goes over there for a little trip. And he trips while he's tripping on the trip.
Oh, that's excellent. And he comes back with, well, not triplets.
They're introduced to holodeck technology, essentially, and on the way, when he comes back, it turns out that he is the opposite of the...
in position.
Yes.
He's
now expecting.
Oh, what an amazing title then, for what an amazing twist for an episode called Unexpected.
Right.
Wink.
Yes.
Wink.
And, of course, they only discover this a few days later, and they have to go back and search for the aliens who are now doing the same thing to a bunch of Klingons.
Yeah.
A little bit of diplomacy is needed, and Trip is unexpected by the aliens after he...
Disexpected. Ooh.
Unexpected, yeah. He has been delivered off.
Ooh, nice. Nice. Well put,
Which I never really understood. I think I first saw it when there was a royal birth in this current generation of the British royals.
Oh,
when they put this big placard out, and what's her name again? The one that's married to William?
I don't know.
It's not Kate is married to Harry, but I don't remember.
She's one of those ones with two eyes and a nose in the middle.
Yes, exactly.
That's how you tell.
But they put this like big sign out in front of Buckingham Palace, and it says like such and so has been delivered of. It's like, what? Didn't she have anything to do with it? It's like it's.
I guess maybe that's I don't know if maybe it's exclusively a royalty thing. That you sort of disassociate of it as if
I guess so.
People in the monarchy give birth differently, or
like, what am I supposed to do? Nothing. You're not qualified.
That's like Monty Python reference. Yes. We leave that to the machine that goes bing. Actually, we saw a few machines that went bing this time around.
Well, yes.
Unexpected was recommended to us by Hoofburd, who said,
So I really want to hear from the writers if they knew that mpreg was an actual thing on certain password-protected tumblrs before they wrote this episode.
Yes, Hoofburd, very, very good question. For those of you sort of tender-hearted listeners at home, mpreg is a shortening for male pregnancy.
Yeah.
It's of particular interest to certain people who are into certain types of entertainment for grown-ups, so don't go too enthusiastically maybe Googling that.
Or do.
Yes. No, okay, but with some caution and awareness.
Lovely thing writing sci-fi when the internet's not really a big thing yet.
And of course, actually, before we even continue this, the fact that mpreg gets brought up in this episode, I have to...
I say we eject the warp core.
Dump the warp core. Wow, that's loud. Because my warp core goes for the sort of gender politics of the late 20th and apparently early 21st century. Because the idea that this is the first time that a male human has given birth...
No, has been pregnant.
Has been, oh yes, that's true. Well, or has been delivered of, as you'd like to put it.
Yes.
Like, lots of people have uteruses.
Right, yes.
And lots of people are male, and there's a limited mind that thinks that never the twain shall meet.
True.
No such mind is Hoofburd, by the way. This is...
Sorry?
I was not implying anything about Hoofburd, of course.
Okay, right. No, I mean, also that, and a little bit of the played for laughs, like,
yes.
he got himself knocked up.
Isn't that silly?
Yes.
Bit of that. Although I do have a typical joyous perspective on that, too.
Okay, good.
Hoofburd goes on to say,
this episode goes in the recommendations because I actually didn't see it, at least not at first. I was like 10, and we're only a few episodes into the new Star Trek show, and I hear one of the Cub Scout dads, very conservative bunch this, mention something about not letting his family watch that terrible new Star Trek show ever again. I didn't hear much of it after that. We kept watching, but I didn't end up seeing this specific episode. And, it doesn't make an impression at the time, but years later on the rewatch, I discover why, and the reason is objectively hilarious.
Wow. So I guess, like several other episodes of Star Trek, it was, not necessarily filtered out of the broadcast, but filtered out of some people's awareness by caregivers with certain uptype attitudes.
Yeah. Sci-fi... throws it on the pile of episodes that were commonly disliked but deserved a second chance.
Okay, yeah, I kind of get that, although I'm wondering, is there a consensus among why it was disliked?
Oh, not really. I mean,
right?
some people said it was going to... that the aliens were a bit too weird. I think the Xerillians were featured as the 14th most bizarre aliens on Star Trek by Screen Rant.
Good. As a Farscape fan, finally we get some weird aliens.
And Mr. Weyer from CBR included this episode on a list of episodes of Star Trek that stated were so bad they must be seen.
Hey,
and
off, Mr. Weyer.
Man getting pregnant story trope rarely works well in any medium, which...
Yeah, I mean...
it depends on how you deal with it, It's like... It's only weird if you make it weird, right?
Actually, Scott Bakula was pregnant in an episode of Quantum Leap.
Oh, yes. But of course he was in someone else's body. So
yeah.
Really,
as was the style of the series Quantum Leap, so... Oh, I wonder if maybe that's why he was corpsing the whole time, just barely holding in his laughter.
Oh, I guess, yes. Edges and Bates of IGN rated it 4 out of 5. He liked the humor, saying it had some genuinely funny moments, and I appreciated that the aliens were aliens for a change. So
yes! See, exactly that. Oh, good.
The only problem is that he had with it was that he would have seen more of the aliens to do anything of it. But I guess that's for the pacing of the show. Yeah, they kind of have to get enough time into the episode to...
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's a really good point. Sort of looking back on it, it's hard to think how those things that happened took 45 minutes.
It's a little bit rushed. It would have probably been better as a B-plot stretched out over a few episodes.
Oh, there you go.
That would have probably made it better, done it more justice, I'd say. But it felt a little bit rushed to me, but still.
Oh, imagine how this would have fared in the latter sort of era of Enterprise where they had more like 2 or 3 episode arcs. And
I guess
those
so,
pods
yeah.
really worked well.
Yeah. So,
that having been said...
Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah, thank you, Hoofburd. Oh, and those of you who are listening at home and wondering how we get these episodes chosen for us, well, some of our beloved listeners put on their thinking caps and they think about which episodes they loved more than anyone else, right? A lot of episodes are underappreciated. Some of them are widely loved, but there's usually like an episode that you loved more than anyone else for a particular reason, and from you we want to hear. So we made a special form that you can find on joyoftrek.com/links. That's where you can find links to our various forms and the Patreon. And you can send us your recommendation and the reason why. And then every now and again, our chief engineer, hi, Greg.
Hey guys, I'm sorry about missing that adjective, but yeah, I had some weird new nipple growing on and I had to go and talk to the doctor.
Sort of rummages around in the pot, as Hoofburd described, and picks out a little gem for us to enjoy. So this time that was unexpected. And do you like how I'm vamping sort of like a radio host?
Oh, yeah.
Sort of, I haven't figured out. Wait, I was trying to like get us straight into pushing that button and starting with the episode.
And then you got sidetracked.
Yeah, I got a little sidetracked because then I think, oh, what a good job I'm doing. I'm sort of reminding myself of a cat that I used to have called Safi, who like she liked to hunt birds, but then she'd be hiding and she'd be purring about what a great job she's doing, and the birds would not would not be in danger of being pounced. I haven't figured out yet how to leave enough openings for you to jump in because we are sort of co-hosts.
Yes.
And like how do radio or sports commentator hosts do that?
I have no idea. Maybe they use hand signals or something. Or maybe they just jump in, or one of them talks until they need a break and then the other one takes over. I have no idea.
Okay. Do you want to try that and give me a hand signal when it's my turn to take over? Let's see if we can...
Well,
so you vamp. You talk for about 8.5 minutes.
Why don't we just get on with the episode? Press the button.
Wasn't that you doing it? I said raise your hand when you want me to talk.
No, I said I said press the button.
Okay, okay, so you don't want to do the thing.
Okay, I'll press the fucking button.
Okay, no, we'll both press the button. I don't care. Here it comes again. There we go. Oh, yours was louder. Okay, fine. You win.
All right, so the opening.
Which one of us is having like emotional or hormonal imbalances now?
You
I think
are,
there's
clearly,
something. Yes,
because you noped out of the intro as fast as you could. Like your overly emotional response to that was.
It's a little bit, yeah. I mean, it's fair to say. So, hey, we start off with a hot nude dude in the shower.
Yes,
it's pretty good. This show, isn't it?
It is. Also, failure of the gravity plating.
Yeah, we've got Scott Bakula, Captain Archer, taking a shower in his wonderful spacious space shower, notices that the pitter-patter water droplets on the plating, that does not look like very comfortable shower floor.
Oh,
plating.
Yeah, I guess not.
It gets slower and slower, and the droplets are sort of building up around him.
Starts And this is actually super dangerous. It's like in space, like having that amount of water flying around.
Because all this water can just go into your lungs. There's no way to stop it.
No.
The fact that he's not panicking is to his credit. Although you do see some cool things that you kind of expect to happen in Zero G, like the clustering of water, like it does like to stick together.
It's quite well done. It looks a bit like bad CGI, but
I mean, it's early CGI, right? Yeah. They were doing things like lensing. Like, look at that. The droplets are actually lensing both the lights in the environment and Scott Bakula's nude bod.
Archer to the bridge.
Lieutenant Rita.
What the hell's going on?
Yeah, well, we've got a little trouble. And how long will it take to get fixed?
Any minute now.
Thunk.
Thunk.
Thanks. What a
it's
nothing.
Been a long road.
Okay, no, fine. God, I noped out of that one real quick for definite. What an absolute nothing of an opener. Right?
Yeah.
Nothing's being teased, nothing's being established, except that, hey, space travel actually kind of sucks. There's a lot of shit that just goes wrong all the time.
Next, we have the Doctor and T'Pol enjoying a little bit of breakfast. I mean, the Doctor is enjoying it, T'Pol is suffering it.
Hey, the breakfast buffet includes plomic broth, which she really enjoys.
She doesn't look like it.
She's a Vulcan.
She says, like...
Plomic broth is a traditional morning meal on Vulcan.
She doesn't say she enjoys it. She just likes it. It's
just, and as Vulcans are not given to those kinds of expressions, right?
Well, they wouldn't say so. I mean, that doesn't mean they don't experience it.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Doctor's trying to get her to like be a little bit more adventurous.
Ah, but you're not on Vulcan. You should try these blueberry pancakes. Ah, they're quite delicious.
But even the smell of human food is like apparently, well, displeasing to her.
I can imagine that, like, as a vegetarian, being around someone who's noshing on bacon may not necessarily be the most comfortable thing. Until she goes and asks for some water, carbonated.
Ooh.
Oh, so adventurous as the doctor.
He's a sarky bastard, isn't he?
And some black goop comes out of the protein resequencer. We cut to the engineering, to the engine room.
Why do you need protein? Why do you need protein resequencer for water? I mean, there's a lot of weird things going on with water in this episode.
Yeah, water seems to be difficult for a lot of machines, whereas it's really one of the easiest reactions
you think so, yes.
in the universe. Like, it's not the most common reaction in the universe, but it's, like, way up there.
Right, yeah.
Like, way, way up there.
Yeah, I mean, if you get some hydrogen and some oxygen in the same room and
It'll
it's
just wait.
Yeah.
Something will happen. Like, you don't even need to ignite it. It'll work itself out eventually.
Yeah.
So you can tell that we're still early on in the first season because there's all these loving shots and this beautiful camera work through these spaces that are still new to us as viewers.
So we have engineering, yes, where more trouble is problems. More trouble is going on. There's a problem with the starboard nacelle.
Yep.
Venting. They're doing a little plasma venting of their own here. One of the panels explodes.
Yeah, oopsie doodle. Let me see. They get contacted by various departments on the ship reporting malfunctions that Trip is trying to stay on top of, and he's got an idea of what it could be.
Right.
So he tells the captain, who asks if maybe we should drop out of work. No,
I'll be fine. And boom, flash. Well, maybe we should drop out of work. Good idea.
I like how everybody knows where the fire extinguishers are.
Yes.
And the captain is just immediately grabs one. Right, we're all fully aware of the safety procedures on this pretty small spaceship.
T'Pol is meanwhile consulting her e-reader.
Yeah, I still love that. I love these viewers that she puts her eyes to, and you get this lovely light on her eyes. It's so cool. This whole bridge is cool.
Something's distorting our wake pattern.
You're right. The plasma exhaust shouldn't be flaring that close to the ship.
They decide to set it on fire. Like dump all the, what is it that they're dumping? They're dumping the plasma exhaust. Yes.
And they say that something's obstructing their plasma exhaust, which, I mean, just vent some into the engine room, like the fans. Just open the little...
You'd think so, yes.
Open the little flaps and just dump that superheated plasma right into the ankle drawers.
Also, it would be fine if we tried to ignite it and go like...
As long as we maintained at least half impulse.
And then he says, like...
Go to half impulse, Ensign.
Like, no, he said literally go faster. Maintain at least half impulse. So
we should be fine. Yeah,
how about 3/4 impulse, just to make sure that we have a little bit of margin of error there.
But no such margin of error is taken, and a charge. Is it a plasma charge or a photonic charge?
I think it's a photonic charge. I don't know what they're saying, what they're firing. They don't say what they're using to.
It's still the first season, so they don't have photon torpedoes. Chief, what are they firing?
Okay, so this is an interesting one. So the exact thing that Paul says is fire a charge. So the first thing I thought is, okay, what's the charge? So they don't have photon torpedoes at this point. They do have spatial torpedoes, but those often bounce off of enemy shields and then just explode then. So they're not the most effective against, just shielding. However, they do seem to have spatial charges, which is funny enough what the Malon ship that we saw in Night just a couple episodes ago launched as just chaff to do it. So more or less they're firing chaff just to hey, light them up. So it's a variable yield explosive. Looks like they're probably just very low kind of yield explosive, just to kind of hey, what's going on there? Light it up. Or just chaff, just hey, let's light it up. That's kind of what it seems to be. That's what I'm inferring here. That's the only kind of charge I can really see that's associated with the NX-1 Enterprise.
Thank you. They ignite some of their plasma exhaust. There's a little fireball, and the captain, who has chosen not to inform the rest of his bridge crew of exactly what he's up to.
Yes.
But fortunately, DePaul seems to have an idea what's about to go on. They scrub through the image and they find the silhouette of a spaceship that's been hiding behind them.
Yep.
Open hailing frequencies.
Our ship-to-ship sensors are malfunctioning. I can only give you audio.
The translator's online, and it was actually really cool because you get non-English being spoken first and gets repeated a few times.
Oh, she gets to do her thing.
She fine-tunes the automatic translation until some English words appear, and then the whole phrase comes in English.
Kaya Lakala Royce Harmas. Kaya Lakala, your request. We ask you not to harm us. We are complying with your request. We ask you not to harm us.
They're moving off, sir.
And then we finally see the ship from outside once they've disconnected their stealth technology, and that doesn't look like 10 kilometers.
No, clearly not, but it's how it goes.
They've got audio only because apparently ship-to-ship sensors are down.
Ship-to-ship sensors, yes.
What the, like...
Yeah, the technobabble writers were not really on the ball this episode.
No, I think they were paying all their attention to the pregnobabble.
Sure, yeah. Because,
I don't get a little credit or a little prize for pregnobabble.
Okay.
Just a little chuckle. I need these things, Kay. You know that I'm in a fluctuated hormonal state, apparently.
Right. So yes, I mean, I was kind of like thinking of the other bit of techno blurb that I was like having taken some umbrage with.
Oh, resequenced photons.
No,
that's
holograms.
Fine. No,
that's fine.
Okay.
I was more talking about the fact that because the next thing that happens is that the doctor is shooting Trip up.
I'm giving you 40 milligrams of myrazine. It should shorten the decompression process by half.
And because it's a 3-hour decompression. And
both
then
ways.
3-hour decompression the other way. Wait, what?
Yeah, no, I knew that this was going to come up, Kay. I totally agree because you've taught me well, and like decompression does not. You need to compress into a higher pressure environment and decompress to get out of it, but you don't need to do it both ways, or do you?
No. I mean, compression is generally the... compression goes fast. You can do compression, you can do that pretty quick. Because the problem with decompression is you get the bends. Basically, the partial pressure of nitrogen gets so high that it saturates your blood more. And when the pressure drops, it can start forming bubbles. Because you're at the lower pressure, your blood can hold less nitrogen.
Right.
And that causes the bubbles.
Hey, is this generally about pressure, or are they maybe talking about like gaseous saturation? Because what if they have an equal amount of oxygen, an equal or lower amount of CO2, and some other largely inert gas?
Yes.
Right? Nitrogen, I believe, is largely inert to us.
Yes.
Right? It just occupies space in the atmosphere and it occupies...
Yeah, we don't really do anything with it.
No, it just dissolves into our various fluids.
Yeah.
And they have something else, right, as a filler. Would you want to slowly replace the nitrogen with whatever it is that they have as their filler? It's going to
do that slowly anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be naturally filtering in and out of your blood. So I don't think that make a difference if there's...
No, if you have one atmosphere pressure on one side or the other.
Anyway.
Okay, so they just don't know what they're talking about in their filler.
Exactly.
But it's kind of cool that there is this inconvenience.
Yes.
You can't just beam onto somebody else's ship and just breathe their air. I remember loving that about this episode. Not loving the pregnancy part so much, but... No. I really love that it was difficult and it was weird. And we have this engineer who can't wait to get out among the aliens. And now it's just super inconvenient. And as soon as he gets there, he kind of can't wait to get back.
More or less, yes. I mean, first of all, it's so nice to have compatible airlocks with alien ships.
Yeah. I mean, well, hold on. Why are you giggling? Wouldn't you want to design your ships to be compatible with something else?
Of course, but... what makes you think that like there's some sort of like we can barely do it here on Earth, let alone between the Vulcans and the Klingons and the everybody, you know?
Well, let me see. How would you work it out? You'd want definitely something non-penetrative, some clasping mechanism that's non-penetrative because that's politically fraught.
You're pretty much limited to magnetic. I mean, you can't use suction because you're out in space.
Yep. So exactly. So it would have to be magnetic because everything else is culturally fraught, and nobody would do that because it might be a diplomatic incident.
And then you get to the theory that it would be convenient to have a large hatch which fits over everybody else's hatches, but everybody wants a large hatch to fit over everybody else's hatches. Therefore, you get like an arms race in hatch size. It's complicated. Let me put it like that.
So you'd want several sizes of sort of.
I don't know. It's like I know.
But what's great is that other aliens also want to be able to do it.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody's got this. They're all sort of designed, so you can assume that whatever you're deficient at, probably the other party will have some solution for. So you need to be receptive to the solution.
Yeah. So basically, what you want is a hatch, which is, I guess you want some sort of tunnel design. You have a hatch and a tunnel, and the tunnel is big enough to fit over a hatch.
Yeah.
But then you have two tunnels. Say you only have two tunnels, and then you can't fit a hatch. And anyway, it gets complicated.
It sounds like a reproductive system.
It does a bit. Yes. No.
So
it's true.
So this Cerulean ship is pretty beautiful, by the way. It looks a little bit asymmetrical from this angle that we see it. It's got all these glowing bits, just totally unfamiliar. Travis Mayweather pilots the shuttle, the cramped little shuttle where Trip is packing the last of his things and gets a good hard seal, and then through that little umbilicus. Wow, everything is pregnobabble here, isn't it?
I know. Ooh.
And through that little hatch, Tucker climbs up. We get a lovely shot of his blue uniformed bum. That is definitely going in the favorites right there. And he climbs into this dark space with weird runged ladders and is left behind by his friends, just on his own.
Yep.
Don't forget to come back for me.
I don't know. We are kind of busy.
So once he gets in that, he's like, in a brownish tube. And once he's in there, the gas starts flooding.
Yeah, he does not love that.
Try to maintain your normal rate of respiration.
I mean, I can imagine it's just like some sort of decontamination, or it's the decompression that they're talking about,
or whatever.
Something like
maybe
that.
It's I don't know, some high humidity or some non-water fluid suspension that's opaque while it's interacting with the argon in his atmosphere until that's gone, or whatever.
He bitches about it to Archer. Apparently, he calls him up several times during the decompression process.
Oh yeah, because he's rather anxious.
Yes.
And we see Captain Archer, who's got a cup of coffee and not a lot of patience.
Yeah.
Not a lot of patience for his other pet.
How long's it been, sir?
About 5 minutes longer than the last time you asked.
You have about 45 minutes to go.
They make him do some brain training before they let him out.
Yeah, they expect quite a lot from him because those lights come awful quick toward the end.
Yeah, well, maybe they're just testing, to see what the cognitive capacity is of human beings.
True. Maybe that's quite normal for Ceruleans to be able to do at that speed.
It's a good opportunity to do a little testing on another species.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently it's something that the human brain has sacrificed the ability to do so, because they've trained chimps to basically play with touchscreens. And they flash them, and basically they get a flash of numbers 1 through 10.
In different positions on the screen.
And then they have to go through, then it's a really short flash. It's like less than a second, and maybe even a few tenths of a second. And
just effortlessly, they can touch the areas of the screen in the order.
The numbers get replaced by squares, and then if they touch the squares in the right order, then they get their treat.
Yep.
And it's like no human can process it at that speed. It's just simply, maybe if you have photographic memory, but even then,
it's not a typical human capability. Whereas, I read that as well. The idea is that our sort of linguistic loop, our tolerance for symbolic communication, required a lot more brain cycles. I also read in a book that while chimpanzees are better at problem solving, and have higher what may be described as intelligence than
humans are better cooks.
Orangutans. One, we don't know that. But the thing that was so interesting is orangutans consistently pass the mirror test, and chimps don't always.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I love the fact that you can just make orangutans laugh.
You can do magic tricks for them.
I know, right? And they're just they're delighted at being surprised by getting an outcome that they weren't expecting.
Oh, and it goes second level as well. Experiments with theory of minds to see if you can model somebody else's, where they're shown a video of a prank being played on some other monkey.
Right,
so they see a monkey an ape who's being shown that there's a treat in a particular thing, and then the ape is led away, and they can see on the video that the treat is being moved.
Right.
And now they know that the other ape ship is being tricked, and they get so excited. Oh, he's gonna get owned so hard. That loser, owned, bitch, cock, monkey cock. That's at least how I imagined the rules. Right. Oh, hey, going back to Porthos, didn't he do a good Sid?
Oh, he did a great Sid.
He did a great little Sid. That was still Prada who played Porthos in the first season. Yeah, before he was replaced for being too hung. Yeah.
Yes, on board the trip is having some effects.
He's having a little trip.
He is tripping balls.
This is like, woo-hoo.
The sound is all a little bit weird. It's all filmed a little bit fish-eyed.
We've got everything is real close.
Lots of Dutch angles. And
I think it's filmed at like 5% slower than normal.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
Sagittarius, we has arrived. Prepare to disembark, man.
There's some problem with
the reference for the homies.
No idea. There's some problem with the theraphasic coils.
Yeah, and the Zerillians who pass by, and they're humanoid largely, but shiny.
A little bit smaller, a little bit reptilioid.
Yeah.
We've prepared a meal for you.
Not right now, thank you.
We strongly recommend that you get some rest.
He's too excited to get going.
Gets going, complains to bitch more at Archer, who orders him to go and take a nap. Go sleep for at least an hour. Yeah, Trip really wants to go home, and he says like, no, just sleep it through, and then we'll see how you feel after you take a nap.
Yep. Which he does because he contacted Trinal, the Zerillian captain, it seems to be.
I think so, yeah.
Who says, well, we have a lot of experience with this. It'll subside when you take a nap like we told you to. So try that. Because like, look at all the things that he's experienced on the ship. He's just had 3 hours of quite distressing, low stimulus, but high stress environment. And now he's out in this weird environment with moss growing on the walls and tanks full of eels.
And there's like lots of flashing lights.
Yeah, it's too high stimulus, which I can relate to. Yeah. Sometimes that's just more than you want to handle. There's a lot of noise while he's sitting there among these tubes.
She takes him to the sleeping chamber, which has been prepared for him. And after he wakes up, everything seems to be back to normal. There's no more weird distortions.
Alen, female presenting Zerillian, is there to take care of Trip when he wakes up in this plastic red socket. I mean, it's like a wall with a socket carved out for people to in.
I'm not sure I'd want to. I'm trying to work out how to in that, to be honest. Like,
it's a socket. You it.
I'd call it more. I think it's more like a reading nook. You know, you'd find in a library.
Oh right,
but,
where you
that's what it's
for young and limber-bodied people who can find and cats who can find comfort in any position and not for the likes of us.
And you want to in it.
Look, I've seen Tommy Wiseau's masterpiece, The Room, where the second of, I think, 5 sex scenes in an hour-and-a-half movie, all with the same terrible soul song, takes place on a spiral staircase, a one-person, grated spiral staircase. Damn. You know, that's where you want to take your time and really explore one another's body. So if they can do it there, which they clearly can because it's a long-ass scene, then you can fuck in a socket like this.
Okay, yeah. She hands him a bucket for a bowl, actually.
This is the closest we could come to water.
And it's like Jell-O cubes, basically. It's like, okay.
How can that be nourishing when you need water?
Also, they have a bloody holodeck where they do have actual water.
Yeah, okay, but you probably can't drink that if it's just resequenced.
I know,
but
they clearly know what water is, and why couldn't they? Why can't it exist in the ship?
I know. Maybe it's the closest we can come to water. Maybe water's actually hugely problematic to them biologically, and they just don't want to be near it. Maybe it's not safe for them to be around water.
So they go boating.
Oh, we get to have a clip from Strange New Worlds Season 1, Episode 1, where Spock, overlooking the oceans of Vulcan, remarks that...
On Salon, the seas consist of liquid mercury. Earth's our water.
And then he doesn't specify what Vulcan's oceans are made of.
Yes.
So, who knows what Zerillian...
Okay, yeah,
fair enough. They might be on, liquid ether.
Right.
And that's going to be a fun boating trip, isn't it?
But yes, cubes. She starts to sensually feed him those white cubes.
Oh, yeah.
And a little bit of electricity sparkling from her fingers to his lips.
And she sort of gently caresses his...
Did that hurt? No.
No.
Not really.
But a little, but keep doing it.
It's kind of nice, actually.
It's kind of nice, actually. Yeah. Dude, not too hard, but still like hard, right?
Man needs a lot of fluids when he's under the weather.
Whoa. Are you doing your softcore porn voice again?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Do you want to keep going with it? Do you dare?
This is going to be
Chief, softcore
bit
porn
of,
music.
Effort to talk like that, but yes.
Hi, so you're ASMR. Okay, I'll see if I can join you. Because let's talk about Alain, because she's the engineer.
Yes.
How would you describe her appearance and uniform?
Well, shiny.
Softcore porn voice, please. The music is still playing.
Shiny. And
right.
Let's see if I can get a good look at her uniform.
Oh yeah, get a good look at her uniform.
It is, it's skin tight, and she's got a very fit body, and her head is, it's not typical head ridges, although they're a little bit scaly, and she's got stunning green eyes.
She really does, doesn't she?
Yes, and shiny.
Yeah, everything's sort of
slippery when wet.
Oh, there you go. What's an adult sort of fun times lubricant called that also comes in these kind of granules that you sort of add a little water to and then suddenly... Is it J-Lube? Is that the one?
I think J-Lube is the stuff that comes in powdered form and then you add water and then...
There's also one that comes in like essentially Jell-O cubes and then you add your own water and suddenly all sorts of things become more comfortable to do.
Right. Well, like I said, J-Lube's, I think it's powder and you add water and then it becomes slippery.
Is that like astronaut dehydrated water?
Yes, just add water.
Yeah. Back on Enterprise. It's not the Enterprise. It's Enterprise in this series. Now that contact has been re-established with Trip, he's in much better spirits.
By the way, this brings me back to an argument we had a little while ago about La Sirena.
Oh, wow. So the spaceship of Cristobal Rias in Picard.
Because I was saying the La Sirena, and you said that's double because it's La is the and Sirena.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'd be tempted to say it depends on how the ship is registered.
Yeah,
and if it has La Sirena painted on her bow, then it is the La Sirena because La Sirena is her name.
If it's the convention to precede the name with a definite article, right? That's the convention in the original series of Next Generation, where it's the Enterprise, the Defiant. In DS9, it's also the Defiant.
Yeah.
Oh,
now Voyager.
In Voyager, just Voyager.
The Voyager, yes.
Right? No, not the Voyager, just Voyager. And in Star Trek Enterprise, it's Enterprise, not the Enterprise.
Right.
So it depends, like, by the time of
Picard,
the 24th
it still means
century.
it's like whether or not it is the name of the ship is actually La Sirena.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, in Next Generation, it is the ship's name is not the Enterprise. The ship's name is Enterprise. They just call it the Enterprise.
Actually, if there was a ship named after this Oglala person that this actor from this episode made a sculpture of, then that would be the USS His Fights.
Yes,
which is apparently a name if you anglicize it.
Yeah,
and so beam me up to the His Fights.
Yes.
It's a difficult thing to say, wrap your head around, but you're completely right.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Anyway.
Especially if you were a Spanish-speaking captain.
Yes.
And then it would be...
La Sirena.
El His Fights. Actually, La Sirena. Yeah. Oh, dear. Okay. Ooh, no, hold on. We're not quite there yet.
Okay.
I mean, ships are often gendered in the feminine in English, right?
Yes.
And in lots of languages that still struggle with gendered verbs. So would it maybe be, like, if you had a ship called El Dorado and ships are feminine, would a Spanish captain, like, beam up to La El Dorado?
I would think so, yes.
Right?
Yeah. It makes sense.
Fun language. Hey, gender politics are going to be with us for a while. There are certain people from with various languages that they're going to have some work cut out for them to figure out how to... I remember, I think it was either Mexico or Puerto Rico. It was somewhere in the Americas anyway. And they had to struggle with... They had their first female Secretary of State.
Oh, yes. I think... Yeah, go on.
And as I understand, like, there is the word la secretaria, which is a personal assistant, a traditionally feminine role, so la.
Yeah.
But the Secretary of State is el secretario.
Right.
But it would be weird to use a masculine article with the female person, and so she became la secretario de Estado. If I'm telling it correctly.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just like you, Trip has to be kept on the work.
Do hand gestures. We're going to have to figure them out.
In this case, it's to Paul rather than me who's doing the...
Okay, so next time that I go on too far, you just give me the Vulcan salute. You give me double Vulcans if I'm going way too far.
I'll just like quietly steer you back onto course.
Oh, but can we do the hand gestures? Because I just thought, I'm like, and if you want to talk, or if I want to talk, let's be fair, that's more likely. You can just do the tap on your left tit as if there's a comm badge there.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey,
Very
see that
good.
works?
Yes, we'll see. Let's give that a shot. So, yes, to Paul...
Definitely have forgotten in 5 minutes. There's no way we're going to remember that. Yeah, sorry?
Trip is trying to...
Trip's trying to what? What's Trip trying to do?
He's trying to wax lyrical about the ship, how the food grows on the walls, and they've got grass. And
The grass releases some kind of vapor, helps them metabolize their food. Smells just like a freshly mowed lawn.
The ion matrix, Commander.
Oh, right.
Oh yes. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. It's all coming online.
Keep pumping up the gradient. Pump up the gradient, pump up the gradient. No.
And in a few hours, the coils will be charged, and they'll just come online on their own.
Yep.
That gives us a few
why don't we
hours.
go have a little bit of fun? Let me show you something.
Oh, not the socket?
No, well, I mean, this could be... I mean, this is the rainbow socket, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I think this is the opposite of a chill-out tent, because it's covered in this, like... How do you describe this material? It's silvery, but it's all reflective, like a compact
I don't know
disc.
how they did this. It looks like it's some sort of mylar sheeting, maybe with.
Oh, this present wrapping foil.
Yes, something like that. Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. And I love the fact that it's clearly a rectangular room, but there is a patterning on the wall which kind of seems to like defy the shape of the room.
The geometry, yeah. Yes, you're right. It makes it look more. I don't know, more spherical, more like it's more like a tent.
It's painted a little bit like you get those 3D paintings on the floor. You know?
Oh yes,
which
yes.
Makes it, which
from
makes
a particular angle.
Yeah, you can see the perspective. But yes, she takes the device from the womb and.
What's this? That's Thera. That's where I come from.
Yeah, it's this beautiful sort of mountain range, and Trip is in awe.
Yeah, never seen something like this. There's nothing like any hologram I've ever seen.
The perspective is changing.
He's amazed, and he can walk. Yeah, we could walk all the way to the city and never leave the room.
And she picks up some sand off the floor and hands it to him. And like, how are you doing this? Oh, resequenced photons.
Yes, that's what they get after the rowboat, which doesn't have any oars, by the way. But
Yes, I wonder if there was an actual rowboat created or filmed, because it moves in a kind of a weird way. So I think this was
It's probably a boat that they just put on some springs. That's how they usually do this kind of thing.
Oh, that's quite possible, yeah.
And then they add in the water effect.
So the Ceruleans have the concept of boating, but we don't know what fluid it is. I mean, as far as non-water-based fluids that are safe to drink, I'm only thinking of like glycerin, which doesn't nourish you at all or replenish you in any way.
I don't know. Is glycerin isn't that also largely water?
I think.
Oh no, glycerin is different molecules. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think aside from glycerin, there really isn't that much that's fluid at room temperature, doesn't contain water, and safe to drink.
Yes. I mean,
Chief, is there anything else?
Nothing that jumps to mind to me, but...
Kaki, yet again, another question that's probably going to put me on some kind of a watch list. So, looking into this, I don't really think so. The things that we know that are liquid at room temperature are either still water-based, even in trace amounts. Like, even if you have, olive oil or canola oil, or just, those that are, technically safe to digest, you're not going to have a happy stomach if you just drink a bunch of vegetable oil or canola oil or whatever. There's still trace amounts of water in them because there was water that was used to create it. You'd have to boil the water out in some capacity. The elements just basically not really safely, at least what I can see, without getting myself onto an FBI list from this question. I don't want to take a look at more complicated chemicals that really going to get me in trouble. So I'm just going to say no.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
She is flirting hard.
Yeah. And she's doing so by asking him all of these questions about him, which is really kind of fun that the alien is asking the humans all these things. You don't have
how do you tell moods? You don't have any dermal plating. How do you tell what mood someone's in? Which, implies that there's something about them that changes. Maybe it's color or...
Maybe this is like super horny. This is what super horny looks like for Xyrillians.
Sure, I'll go with that.
Which suggests that the fact that she doesn't look very different from other Xyrillians is that they're all super fucking horny for Trip. And she just sort of lucked out or schemed.
She's the first one to get him into the holodeck, yes.
I mean, the captain did say, we have a lot of experience with alien visitors.
Oh, yes. Maybe it's her turn.
Oh, yeah. It's your turn in the reverse barrel, or however that works. Oh, wow.
The follicles on your face, if I'm not mistaken, they've grown. Do they have a purpose?
Not that I know of.
You usually don't show that. Like, this is something that, I think it was Brannon Braga, one of the writers, said that he really enjoyed about this episode, because you could show human space explorers absolutely shitting his pants once he actually encounters an alien space that's just way too space. Like he said, you would never see a Riker freaking out like this because it's just normal for him.
Right, yeah, they're still doing the thing.
Connor Trinneer, the actor who played Trip, also had various ideas that he wanted to include. Because it was such a Trip-heavy episode so early on in the series, like he really wanted to flex his acting muscle and had some suggestions that were taken. And he felt that they were giving him enough rope to hang himself with. But then he thinks he did a good job, and I do too, honestly.
She calls up a bowl of granules, and they play some mind games.
This is a game we play. Watch.
Yes.
Winking and skin fucking him. This game is called The Sex.
I guess, yes.
Basically, because it's such an intimate game where apparently it turns out it's possible to become pregnant from.
Yes.
So is that just something we do all the time? Is it common for males to we just wind up pregnant just whenever? And then
maybe she was, like you said, maybe she didn't. She's flirting with him. She's clearly got the hots for him. And maybe this is how they do it, but as she later says, she had no idea it was possible. So maybe
apparently not that much experience with.
Or maybe
aliens.
It only happens to work with humans.
Yeah.
I mean, humans seem to be able to crossbreed with anything. You get half Klingons, you get half Betazoids, you get half Vulcans. You get
Vulcans take some work, as we learned from Sarek in that interview.
But even then, it's it's maybe just like the humans are the sluts of
the galaxy. Yeah. Maybe that's why Sarek likes humans so much.
Yeah.
He's got a kindred spirit.
Yeah.
Because he's also a big old space slut, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
It's really kind of cool. This game, she sticks her fingers in. She asks him to do the same.
Are there any rules to this game?
It takes 4 hands to work.
I've seen some games played that require 4 hands to work sometimes. There are certain activities on password-protected tumblrs that not everyone needs to know about.
But yes, favorite food is catfish. What's your favorite food? And it takes him a moment, and it's like a Dutara root. Huh.
How did I know that?
You find me attractive.
You like having people find you attractive, don't you?
Yeah, she is laying it on hard. And
I really like her, even though she's doing something that's not very cool because she does not have his consent for the level of intimacy that she's imposing on him. But such were the early 2000s.
Yeah, after that, it's over pretty quick. The coils are back online, they leave, and it cut back to when Trip leaves the ship again. After 3 hours of decompression. Fortunately, the ship-to-ship scanners have been fixed or something.
And now they can talk to each other over the screen.
And see each other, yes.
The Xyrillians are gracious and grateful for the assistance provided to them. They're ready to get on their way.
Sorry we took so much of your time. So it's fine. We're here to meet aliens anyway. That's it's kind of what we do here.
Yeah. Why else would we be out here?
Well, Trip is now getting into a little bit of classical pregnancy symptoms, I guess. What was like
oh yes, appetite. Specificity of appetite, some exaggerated responses to perceived inconvenience of the protectiveness instincts. They're all being introduced. And these are very stereotypical.
Yep.
But every stereotype does have some granule of an observation.
It's a stereotype for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are observations which, many times those observations say more about the observer than the observed.
True.
But in this case, it's such a shared experience. Now, I do have a question for you, Kay.
Yes.
So Trip is notching down on what appear to be scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
When Malcolm Reed comes and joins him, and then in this particular gif that I'm looking at, he grabs a bottle of something that he pours over his plate.
Yeah.
Now, it sort of looks like either soy sauce or maple syrup.
I'm assuming...
What is he pouring over his eggs that makes them better? And can I have some also? That's a follow-up question. Is it good?
You can't tell. I mean, he might also have some pancakes on there. We know that they make those as well, so it could be that he's
plate is very full with scregs.
Yeah, well, maybe there's some pancake hiding under the scregs.
Oh, no, you're right. It's got a little plate of pancakes. It's got a little side dish of pancakes.
So I'm assuming it's just maple syrup that he's pouring over the pancakes.
Oh, I'm disappointed. I was hoping that there was a secret, extra condiment that you can put over scregs that makes them even better.
The secret third condiment.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Those Roman or medieval sets of 3 shakers. One of them's clearly for salt. One of them's clearly for pepper.
And the third condiment.
Although I don't know if the Romans did pepper.
Yeah, don't know.
I mean, people in Rome definitely do pepper now. God, they love black pepper.
Maybe you're allergic to something over there.
Well, clear bioscan.
Nevertheless, you better have Dr. Phlox take a look at it.
And after Phlox has a look at it, it turns out to be a nipple.
Yeah. Why are you growing nipples? And why does Phlox immediately recognize this?
The blastocyst is located between the 6th and 7th intercostals.
What the hell are you talking about?
Well, he does a scan for it, yeah.
Yeah, but that's not what is the biological classification for mammalian pregnancy? It's parasite, right? It's a parasitic, antagonistic relationship to a very great degree. That's how we differ from... sorry, I said mammalian. Oh, actually it is. Are marsupials separate from mammals?
Well, yes, well... no, they're mammals.
Not.
They're mammals, but they have a more primitive...
Placental mammals, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because marsupials don't have placenta, they don't have all that going on, so instead, baby just sort of crawls out into the pouch, finds a nipple, and chills out there for the rest of its gestation. But placental reproduction is... That's why it's so hugely dangerous.
It's much more complicated in humans than it is in most other mammals.
Oh yeah, we're bipeds, which was a huge mistake, anatomically speaking.
Right, but I'm also talking the human placenta is very aggressive in nesting itself, and a lot of other mammals can basically self-abort if the conditions are wrong.
Yeah.
And that's not possible in humans. It's because the placenta is really aggressively in there.
Right
it's
in there.
Kill the mother before it lets go, essentially.
Right, yeah, because for most animals, if the mother isn't alive, the children won't survive either.
That too. Yeah.
Fortunately, fortunately, we have medical interventions for those who need it among our species. Regrettably, there are places that are seeking to curtail those basic forms of healthcare and often life-saving interventions.
Unfortunately, there are organizations who try to help that and prevent that again.
Yay!
As in, the one that jumps to mind is the Satanic Temple.
Oh, what are they up to these days?
Oh, well, just usual. They're still fighting for reproductive rights and make sure that certain religions don't encroach too much on the liberties of others.
Hell yeah!
I believe they have the Samuel Altio's mum abortion clinic, which they run in our...
So Mr. Alito, the I think erstwhile Supreme Court Justice, and they have
their abortion
reproductive
clinic.
health clinic named after his mother.
No, it's literally called the Samuel Alito's mom. Abortion.
Wow. Okay, that's oh dear.
Yeah.
I wonder what Hoofbird's family / scout troop, who wouldn't let him watch this episode, would think about us saying all these things. I don't imagine this is going to get played.
I don't think it'll make it over to them.
Then again, it's been 23 years. Who knows how people do have the capacity for change.
As for your question, it's like how Phlox jumps to this conclusion. He does seem to know a few things about the Xerillians.
When reproducing, the Xerillians only utilize the genetic material of the mother. The males simply serve as hosts.
That's comforting.
He's always a little bit coy and always a little bit teasing when it comes to his patient Phlox.
Oh, yeah. He has the greatest
You've been having some nookie, haven't you?
Seems you did a little more than repair work.
Yeah. And he's completely right to say that because he's speaking under condition of privilege.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's, I think even the captain probably can't compel him to divulge medical information beyond.
Not, yeah.
There's space. Oh, I call it Space OSHA. It's Space HIPAA.
Right.
Right? At least in...
Space OSHA, we'll get to that later.
Good point.
But yes, there's a little bit of... they keep, accusing him of having a sexual encounter. T'Pol is in full judgmental Vulcan mode.
3 days. You were only there for 3 days and you couldn't restrain yourself.
She was written to be such a sort of, a snide hard ass in the early seasons. I never quite liked that role. She did certainly improve, and we learned a lot more about like the origin of her sort of disdain. But she is also quite right, because just like Phlox, there was a sexual interaction that Tucker is denying.
Yes, there's clear evidence that it happened.
I've been in Starfleet for 12 years. Do you think I'd jeopardize my career by messing around with some alien engineer on a 3-day mission?
Yeah. But and it turns out that he just didn't recognize it for what it was.
I considered myself a diplomat from the minute I set foot in that vessel.
And it takes a little bit of digging to go,
well, there was that box of pebbles.
Stuck our hands in them, and then the doctor goes like, well, could have happened.
And here's where I actually really, really appreciate. So while there's a lot of sort of sniggering, and the writing for T'Pol is kind of unkind to her character, her jokes are actually really good.
Oh, yes.
And you can see Archer struggling to and succeeding in restraining his laughter.
Oh, yes.
Right.
One of the first things a diplomat learns is not to stick his fingers where they don't belong.
And I love how this is played, because I was waiting kind of for the moment that he does actually burst into laughter, or is embarrassed by it, or somebody else notices. But here, like, Trip can totally see Archer struggling to restrain himself.
Yes.
And appreciates that, because Archer does his best and succeeds, is trying not to embarrass his friend and succeed, and this is appreciated in both ways. This is actually really cool. Because if I were in a position that was of concern or discomfort to me, and perhaps a source of humor to others, then if friends of mine, well, understandably perhaps from their point of view, found themselves chuckling, and they tried not to, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah. So
just as the opposite sometimes, I do need you to chuckle at my dumb puns sometimes. Right? That's what we need from our friends.
The whole sickbay thing finishes up with...
You think we could keep this between the four of us?
I mean, in all fairness, it should.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you shouldn't even have to ask it.
Highly privileged.
You shouldn't even have to ask about this. But
exactly.
Yeah, no, it is confirmed. Here we get to the OSHA violation, or at least
all about it.
The perceived OSHA violation of by Trip, who goes off on one of the other engineers, like this lift.
Look at this handrail. Put your hands here while this is going up or down. It'll take your fingers right off.
Why would someone put their hands there, sir?
I mean, he's got a good point there, even though the engineer goes like, why would you put your hand there? Because it's at hand-putting height, and you're standing in a lift that moves, and you might want to hold on to something.
It does have hazard tape on it.
It does, but still,
And it's in engineering, which is a restricted environment, so I imagine...
Even then.
And all the other handrails that we've seen are vertically oriented.
Yeah. The grab rails. Yeah, but still, he has...
see if there's grab rails in there.
He has a point, It's like...
Yeah, honestly, why even have it?
Right.
If you can't hold on to it, I'm coming onto your side. If you can't hold on to it, and as he points out...
This safety bar is a meter off the floor. What use would it be for a small person?
A small person?
A short alien, a child.
Probably a lot of people in the universe are shorter than 1 meter. So
I mean,
why
not a lot of them would be in engineering.
Right.
I mean, maybe that's they've got this little sign at the door to engineering, which is like some
you must be this tall.
Must be this tall to enter engineering.
To ride the warp core.
Captain Starlog supplemental.
Yes, I noticed that.
That's what it's called on Enterprise, as the beautiful NX-01 cruises through space at warp in search of the Xyrillians.
8 days it has been so far.
And we see Trip walking through the crowded mess hall to the private dining room where the captain...
Where the senior staff dines.
It seems to be just the captain and invited guests.
Is it? Okay, I thought I kind of figured it was the senior officers mess, because we see that now it's Phlox sitting there. Later on, it's T'Pol.
It's a max 4-person table, and I don't think we ever see more than 3. And sometimes the captain's dining there alone. So I think he uses that sort of strategically.
Okay, yeah, okay.
As a catch-up.
You are invited to dine at the captain's table.
The captain and Phlox have already got it started because Trip was late. He's wearing an untucked shirt.
Yes.
So much for Tucker.
Ha ha ha.
Ha 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 ha.
Ha 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 ha.
And he comes in grumbling and complaining with some paranoia.
He thinks everybody knows what's going on, that knows about his condition.
He's interpreted perfectly normal facial expressions among the rest of the crew as, oh, they're laughing at me behind my back. There's that paranoia.
We all promised to keep this under wraps.
I haven't said a thing. Doctor? Not a word?
I know it. She probably let it slip the minute she left sickbay.
Yeah, I mean, why would she? You know, she's a Vulcan. I don't think they're particularly prone to gossip.
I mean, they are. Well, we do learn a lot about the Vulcans in Enterprise, that they're not as cool and blasé as they like to pretend they are.
More like in Discovery, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, we learned so much about Vulcans on Discovery. It's really great.
Options are spoken about. Like, what if we don't find the Zerillians?
Yeah.
The baby might have to be delivered and taken care of. And
you should expect to begin experiencing some unusual symptoms, hormonal changes mostly, mood swings, heightened emotions.
Specific appetites? He asks, what's that? Oh, that's chicken tetrazzini.
Yes, he'll have some more of that. And
quick question, what is chicken tetrazzini?
Maybe chicken marinated in tetrazine?
Okay, well, way to take the joy out of that little expedition. I was hoping to discover something new to put on Scraggs, and I was hoping to discover a new form of chicken, but apparently...
I don't know. I mean, tetrazzini, it's like, it kind of sounds like, Greek or so, but I believe that tetrazine is quite poisonous, so, chicken tetrazine...
Ooh. Well, hold on. Ammonia is quite poisonous.
True.
But we sure do enjoy, salmiak as a...
We as Dutchmen do, but and southern Scandinavians also, but the rest of the world, not so much.
Oh, I recently met some Finnish people and they brought some salmiakki. Oh, maybe that's what was coming out of the replicator when T'Pol wanted some carbonated water, when she was getting some salmiakki concentrate.
Right, yes.
In order to spoil everybody's appetite, he peels back a plaster that he's got.
Oh, yes.
Because there's a second nipple now on his wrist. The first one has grown a nice juicy areola, or areola.
Something like
Why
that,
does one
yes.
say that? That must be quite sensitive.
Yes, that's why he's got it taped off, so the cuff of his shirt doesn't chafe against it.
I'd love some more of this.
Yes, sir.
And the space butler goes off and comes back just in time to hear him talking about
postnatal responsibilities.
You may very well be putting those nipples to work before you know it.
And the space butler
stands there going like, okay.
The yeoman drops off the new chicken tetrazzini and...
But fortunately, the aliens have been found.
Yes, the
Zerillians, they find a kind of signature which kind of matches their cloaking device thing.
Yeah, but the ship that they actually find doesn't match the Zerillians, and in fact...
If the starship profiles the Vulcans gave us are correct...
They're correct, Lieutenant. That's a Klingon battle cruiser.
I say we eject the warp core!
That is a D7 Klingon battlecruiser that is a century ahead of its time. And this is worth pointing out because this was hugely upsetting to the good people at Foundation Imaging who had been worked to the bone with last-minute spaceship requests for the early episodes of Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah.
Justice needs to be extracted here. Because Rob Bronshun of Foundation Imaging said that Koji Kuramura of the SFX staff actually spent 36 hours, no sleep, creating a model for a D4 class based on John Eves' emergency designs that would have served as a period-appropriate precursor design for free. That was then rejected by the studio suits for not having enough windows that you wouldn't be able to see anyway.
Okay.
And as a matter of principle, Foundation Imaging refused to make those updates because, you're getting this for free. You want updates on top of something that's so ungrateful. And so instead, a model was used that, is known to be 100 years older and therefore violated continuity, ruining Star Trek forever, because that's what happens when you violate continuity, right?
It's over. We can quit this podcast now.
Exactly. The Trek is just dead now. Anyway, I really wanted to point that out. Justice was eventually served because there was a physical model made when it was made the sort of cover issue of the Star Trek Ships on the Line model magazine series or something. It was all out of print, regrettably.
Yeah. They try to hail the Klingons, who respond in typical Klingon fashion.
Hail the Klingons, ahura!
They do the traditional Klingon hello, welcome of 2 photon torpedoes up the backside.
It's very similar to the Vulcan hello, as we learn in Discovery. God, it's a beautiful ship, though.
It is.
They had that model still lying around from Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
What gives you the right to approach a Klingon warship?
Archer is in a bit of a pickle, because they need to talk to the Xyrillians, and...
Your problems are being caused by a small stealth vessel that's been riding in your wake. They're using your plasma exhaust to fuel their warp coils.
And as soon as Archer explains that, the captain orders a much, much more effective identification of the Xyrillian craft. 3 photon torpedoes to illuminate them, and immediately the
Klingons... on the
Klingons...
tractor beam.
Yep. So they're locked in. And no, please don't kill them. No.
We need them.
Bring the captain to me, execute the rest, says the Klingon captain. Kovok, his name is.
Yes. He is more than willing to hasten their journey to Stovokor.
I like how Archer has to turn to Hoshi.
Yes.
It's the afterlife.
Right, yes.
I thought it was like the honored afterlife.
Oh, very well, yeah. I mean,
right? Because there's also the Barge of the Dead.
To Valhalla.
Yeah, but there's also a bad place you can go.
Right, okay, yeah. I mean, it's still one of my low-key goals in life to go to a con and get 7 Klingons to march in a line singing hi-ho, to Stovokor we go. But...
Whoa. I mean, odds are good, right?
You can get.
For the memes, yeah. In fact... I think there's probably someone listening right now who may know or be one of said 7 Klingons. But counting on their fingers right now, how many friends do one? We're going to do this. We're going to Las Vegas next year. We can make this work. Please do let us know about it. You can get in touch with us.
And send us the video.
joyoftech.com/links. There's probably a connection there. We're also at Joy of Trek on Twitter and with Joy of Trek on Facebook and whatever other socials there are. But it's all not going terribly well.
No. Fortunately, T'Pol knows how to handle Klingons.
Less than 1 month ago, Captain Archer stood in the High Council chamber in Kronos. The Chancellor himself called him a man of honor, a brother.
Yeah.
And I assume I can't remember, but I assume that she's referring to certain activities earlier on in the season.
Oh, it happened in the first episode.
Oh, first episode.
Broken Bow.
Away,
a lot of that happened.
Okay, yeah.
And she steps up into the middle of the bridge and she yells, I have the pride, the privilege, nay, the pleasure of introducing you to a knight, sired by knights.
Oh, that's a very good reference. Nice Chaucer
And
reference.
so without further gilding the lily, and with no more ado, I give to you the seeker of serenity, the protector of Italian virginity, the enforcer of our good lord, the one, the only, Sir Ulrich von Liechtenstein.
Ah, very good Night Still quote there.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, he's smart. He's funny. He makes us loads of money. Gelderland.
Yes.
If you have not seen A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger of blessed memory, do yourself a favor.
Also, what's his name again? The guy who plays Wash in Firefly.
Oh, yes. Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk, yes.
And Chaucer played by... Oh, Chief, who does Chaucer played by?
That would be Paul Bettany. Also, Mark Addy, who later went on to play Robert Baratheon in Game of Thrones, is also in there in a very unlike Game of Thrones-like role, which is really fun to watch just for that.
Oh, yes, thank you very much. Yeah. Hey, should we do a Knight's Tale podcast sometime?
Oh, wow.
I know it doesn't have to do anything.
It's a great movie.
It really is. Some fantastic dancing.
That too, yes.
Anyway, so she pulls a Chaucer and acting like just a total herald, she actually extracts some respect from these Klingons.
You would be demonstrating both honor and wisdom to grant his request.
But even that is not enough, and it is required that Trip reveals his condition.
First saying that, there's a pregnancy involved.
Yes, nice little sidestep there, and
the captain goes, get used to it.
Yeah, you shouldn't have been shagging like the aliens, it's...
Just put it out of your mind.
Yeah.
Like we all do. And they go, no.
I've been there, but it's not love.
Oh, sick circles reference there. I know what it's like, son. I've been out in the boats. I know what it's like.
But it's not
How
love.
lonely it gets, but it's not love, son. And he lifts up his shirt and shows off his baby bump, which...
he kind of promises that they're going to share their technology with the Klingons.
Yes.
Which is
Archer promised that on behalf of the Xyrillians.
I know, right? I mean, in all fairness, he's doing it to prevent them from being shot out of the water or out of the sky. But, still, it's a little bit...
It's a promise that you don't exactly know that you can back up.
No, but, whatever works at the time, I guess. It's...
Ooh. At the time, the Klingons were not known to have stealth technology.
No, I mean, this is like... I think I read that about this episode somewhere, that this might be implied that this is where the Klingons got their first... leg up on cloaking technology.
Yeah. Well, according to some continuity or lore, I think in the original series, it was like the Klingons traded warp technology for cloaking technology with the Romulans or something similar. But also in Discovery, it's implied that was an ancient Klingon technology that was largely lost.
Oh, okay.
Until T'Kuvma, or T'Kuvma's father, rediscovered an ancestral Klingon ship that had the capability and shared that technology with I love the Klingon shit in Discovery. I do.
But yes, the Klingons come on board with Trip and...
Captain Vorok has agreed to consider releasing your ship in exchange for 1 or 2 of your holographic simulators.
And the captain's like being super nervous about it. It's like, oh, well, gee, thanks. And,
okay.
I guess
we have been volunteered.
Yes.
I guess...
the word is voluntold.
Volok, you're right. I've been calling him Kovok as the Klingon captain hands over some topographical surveys of Kronos.
Takes the Klingons over to the holodeck while...
And the captain says...
I can see my house from here.
Yes. Yes, Trip shows off his baby bump, much to Elend's surprise.
I didn't know that could happen.
Yes.
Oh, no. Whoa.
Fortunately, the girl is very healthy, and it's still early enough in the pregnancy that she can be transferred to another host.
It's a girl, asks Tucker,
Yeah.
and they look at the scan together.
Yes.
How sweet. For an episode with so many, troublesome stereotypes, it's actually really sweet and sort of mature how well this is handled. And then we get back. Now the captain has invited T'Pol and Trip, like a different 3-person combination, to dine with him.
But she sits in a different position, That's why I was thinking it might be a traditional, it might be just the senior officers. Because Trip and the captain sit in the same position, but T'Pol sits in a different chair than where Phlox was sitting earlier. So,
I mean, there's more than 4 senior officers on the bridge, right? Or in the command chain.
I mean, who are the senior? I mean, you've got Archer, first officer, T'Pol. Then you got Trip, who's head of engineering.
Phlox, medical, tactical. Yeah. Malcolm Reed, the head navigator.
Right.
Arguable, Travis Mayweather, and of course Hoshi for communication.
Right, but Hoshi is only a lieutenant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so's Reed.
Lieutenant, yeah.
Malcolm Reed, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Don't know, yeah. Oh, well. Paul confesses that she's full of it.
Klingons are known to exaggerate. I saw nothing wrong with doing the same.
And she's right. She's doing exactly what you're supposed to do. In intercultural things, you're supposed to either stand your ground or adapt or a bit of both.
Yeah.
Which, now that I say it out loud, actually there really isn't a right thing to do. You have to be yourself so that other people can learn about it. You also have to do as the Romans do.
Yes.
Or as the doctor says,
when in Philebia, do as the Philebbians do.
When near the labia, do as the labia. No, that's apparently not that,
I always go
close.
When in Rome, do like the German barbarians, right?
Yikes. Yikes. When visiting Rome, do like the Visigoths. There we go.
That's a good one. It's even better.
No.
But yes, I mean, that's more or less it. Trip laments that this is not exactly the way he would like to have gotten into the history books.
Because Paul says,
you might be pleased to know that this is the first recorded incident of a human male becoming pregnant.
Bullshit!
Right, yes.
Although...
maybe assigned male at birth, maybe, but if you want to call
even there, a full % of humans are some form of intersex,
good point.
And there's
but early 2000s.
Yeah, and there's even all sorts of weird, Phlox describes Xyrillian. Oh yeah, we're sort of done with it. We've got to play the final flourish. Here we go. Yay! Okay, now we can dig back into it and do like another warp core. Because Phlox talks about that the males are impregnated, but they only get the genetic information of the mother.
Right, yes. So they're made, it's kind of like seahorses, I guess, where the male just carry the babies, although in that case there's still genetic material involved. But yeah, it seems here that it's we're talking of, I mean, I don't know if it's asexual reproduction, but yes, it's basically genetic material from the mum and the males carried.
But they still have sexual, not exactly dimorphism, but they have genders.
Right.
They have he and she, but it's assigned so weirdly.
Yeah.
Like, what is male and what is female? Totally, like it's largely cultural, right? There's an assignation that you give. Mother. That has certain implications in our biology, or biology as it exists on Earth. You know, the provision of sperm in a lot of species works the same way. They don't all carry it the same way. Some is external, some is internal. Yeah. But like generally, the thing that becomes alive is generated by the mother, in a very basic sense, in a very broad sense. And the thing that adds genetic variation is generated by the father. Right. I guess if you
they both carry the same amount of genetic data. You get the same amount of genetics from both your father and your mother. But,
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But a sperm cell couldn't possibly like grow into a full being. An ovum, could.
I mean, it
has the mechanism.
Yeah, it's been done.
Yeah.
I think 2 ovums have been combined to form a. I think humans have been born of that. So
right there you go.
Two female parents.
Awesome.
Yes.
Whoa! I didn't even know that. That's cool.
Yes. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure it's been done. Yeah.
Well, I think we should abandon all this terminology and just go for the Starbase 69, much more accurate terminology.
The whole of Starbase
doing it.
Ruin it. Yes.
It's just doing it. And reproduction is baby making.
Just did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Baby making with an N and an apostrophe there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's important. It's because that's how every culture eventually describes it. Our MVP, like, what did we think was?
So fucking cool.
Yeah.
Let's see where we're going to go for that.
You're always unprepared.
I know.
I always catches me by surprise.
Sometimes I write things down during the episode
if
I think of a good one, and then I'm not unprepared. But I haven't been giving it thought this time around.
For me, it's the Zerillians. And just that they're aliens. They're weird.
Yes, they are very
awesome.
They are alien aliens. Absolutely.
And why isn't that the norm?
Well, because it's hard to do, right? I guess.
We've seen Farscape. We know that.
Yeah, it can be done. No, totally. But it's like, it
can just be totally weird.
Forehead of the week is more the Star Trek way,
Yeah, alas. I like that they were all shiny and their whole environment was weird. And that food growing on the walls that was apparently sweet. Hell yeah, I want to try that.
Sure. And everything seemed moist, but yeah, they didn't. This is the closest they could get to water, but whatever. I think the Klingons. It goes to the Klingons.
Really?
I like the Klingons in this one. They were they were so very Klingon-y.
Do you know what? I have a suggestion for you then.
Yeah.
Unconventional to do it like that. Over Volok's shoulder, there's a light brown-haired Klingon who's at first facing away, and I thought maybe, is that a Targ's bum? And then they turn around, and then it's a person. And later on, when Volok says goodbye and our debt is paid, pray we do not meet each other again.
Yes.
You see this other Klingon like crossing their arms in front of their chest, and they reminded me so much of like Numfar from that episode of Angel that I realize now, looking at your eyes, you probably haven't seen.
No, I've not seen anything of Angel.
Okay, where a particular like troll like keeps calling to this person over his shoulder, Numvar, do the dance of honor. And he starts doing this dance in the background. Numvar, no longer do the dance of joy. And he sort of stands there with his arms crossed again because now we are not enjoying ourselves
Very
anymore.
Nice.
And I was expecting him to break out into dance to illustrate to do the dance of threat. Ooh. And then he starts like patting his head.
We know now that it's K-pop and that we're expecting.
Yes.
The secret routine.
Okay, very good.
Captain's log supplemental.
For our Captain's log supplemental. The scenes that we assume were filmed or at least written and then removed before we got to see them. What do you imagine was left on the cutting room floor?
It's either going to be gymnastics in the hall between.
Oh, this. Yes, the super uncomfortable socket where she has to explain it to Trip, and he goes, "Oh, so that's how? Oh, that's clever.
That's doing it among you guys."
Yeah. Oh, so that's how you do it. Yeah.
Because they've got the recreational doing it, and then the procreational doing it.
As we've learned from Stephanie Chekhov, Starbase 69, there's over the pants stuff, there's finger stuff, and doing it.
So yes, I think that, or maybe I really wanted to combine that with like the no gravity scene, but that's like unfortunately those are. Maybe a little malfunction on board with the gravity plating on board the alien ship, and we get some zero gravity doing it.
Ooh. That's got to be either awesome or really not awesome, depending on like how experienced you are.
Well,
does zero G do anything with your tummy or your galley works? Is that like uncomfy?
No idea, but I mean, I guess getting a good bump and grind is probably harder than you'd think in zero G. It's
yeah.
You'd probably want to just crawl into one of those hammocks that they have. Well, not hammocks; it's more like sleeping bags. Which
in NASA they call those sockets.
Right? Is that what? They actually...
I mean,
and then, like, I mean, if you crawl into one of those with the two of you, then at least you're being pressed together, and you don't have to worry about floating off and holding onto things.
There you go.
All right. What about your deleted scene?
Oh, it's got to be the sort of either Rochambeau or maybe like gladiatorial combat that the Zerillians did with each other to decide who gets to the aliens' brains out this time.
Nice. I think they just have a roster, It's like...
Oh, no, she just put a nickel on the edge of the decompression chamber.
My turn.
Mine next. I've got next. Ah, damn it.
She took a chance because like normally there's more of a fight over it, but because the ship-to-ship scanning, they couldn't see. So she went like, yeah, I'll take my chances.
Oh, it might be a tentacly one. He's a biped. Okay, fine. As the Klingon women on the Klingon ship said, well, he's not very attractive, but I shall have him.
Yes. Okay.
Let's find out what our...
Oh, yes.
Does it have a sound effect? Should we have a sound effect for what's coming up next time? I mean, what's coming up?
That's fucking cool.
Okay, well,
we've had that one.
To comply.
No, haven't done that one. Okay. Well, let's look at some of the quotes that our chief engineer has selected from next week's episodes to tease us and see if we can guess it. And you can play along at home. This was recommended by someone. Well, we're going to find out who recommended it. And it's just a quick reminder. If you want to send us a recommendation of your own, you can do so at joyoftrek.com/links. So let's see what Chief has selected for us from that great big box.
It has been quite a day, has it not?
Ooh, okay. It seems to be doing like a Data impersonation when he does like that. Ooh, what were you thinking?
It's been quite. It
has been quite a day. Has it not?
Yeah. Hasn't. Yeah, I mean, that would be. To me, it sounded more like a Vulcan rather than.
Could be.
Than Data, but yeah, it's possible.
Captain, you keep a saddle on board.
A saddle.
Oh, a saddle. Well, I mean, that could be
Pike or Picard.
Yeah, probably Picard. I think it's an Enterprise episode.
Next Generation. Then you think?
Sorry. Yes.
It's on the end. Oh, here.
Non-stop. I have to admit, it has a strange fascination. How long can two people talk about nothing?
Oh,
sounds very familiar.
It does to me. I think I know which one it is.
All right, go on then. Let's hear the last one.
Captain, request for permission to be excused from Commander Hutchinson's reception.
Oh, that was. I remembered. I know the episode, but I don't know what it's called. But that was. I think.
How you describe it in one line? Yeah, that was Worf. Very good.
Because I remember that everybody is trying to like get themselves out of the Hutchinson, who has like some weird performance thing going on. But I have no idea what the rest of the episode's about.
Okay, you're doing so well. We've got one more quote.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Mott. I'm the barber.
That's a really good impersonation, Chief, that you're doing there.
He's the blue guy, right?
Mott is the barber,
yes.
Yeah. But it is not, in fact, Mr. Mott who's saying that. Mm-hmm. It's Captain Picard, because this is...
The episode is TNG Season 6, Episode 18, Starship Mine.
It's Space Die Hard.
Right, yes. That's episode, is it? Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah, I knew which one this was going to be because I was actually on a podcast. It's got Star Trek. And we did a live rewatch of this a while back. That was so much fun. So I can't wait to watch it again with you.
All right. Thank you very much.
The hell is this?
I'm leaving Starfleet.
Energize!
Energies! That would have worked.
We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode with your friends Kay and Cocky, production and editing by your chief engineer Greg, and music by Fox Amore. Join us next time for TNG 618 Starship Mine. Visit joyoftrek.com/links to send us your recommendations, support us on Patreon, or to find us on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening to The Joy of Trek, and we'll see you out there.